Okay, I haven't made a video in a long time in my bathrobe, but I'm getting ready to go to my Japanese class. I'm up earlier than normal. And I just took a shower. I'm going to get dressed in a moment, but I want my body to kind of dry off first. Okay, so this is the part 2 of Is SGI a Cult? And the diagnosis of Icchantika Tourette's. You can always tell there was only 5,000 people during the preaching of the Lotus Sutra who walked out right before the secret expedient means was going to be preached. And you can always tell who those 5,000 people are, because there's only about 100 at a time that are reincarnated in any one country or place. And usually they all start grouping together. And so there's a bunch of we call them, or I call them Sgi Haters, fraught with lies websites and other ones who just, if you ever tell them anything that's says anything that reminds them of the SGI, they have this like Tourette Syndrome. So if you say the SGI is black, they say white. And if you say the SGI is good bad, if you say anything about President Ikeda or Kozen Rufu or pretty much no, they're not yet Tourette's about Kozen Rufu. Some of them actually think that's a cool idea, but you can tell they walked out on the assembly and that's Tourette syndrome that they have. So they think up is down and down is up, and you can have a conversation with them and they seem like normal people. So if you go like this, you say, "Oh, I'm walking down the street and I was talking to these guys and Daisaku Ikeda walked by and as soon you can say everything, they're like and as soon as like they hear Daisaku Ikeda, yeah, cold, group, they start having these like Tourette syndromes. So that's how you can tell they're in Icchantika. And anything you write in defense of yourself, if they lie to you on their websites, they're going to delete it, or they're going to say, "Oh, that's promotion of your cult," yeah! Like that. They start having these Tourette moments, so you can tell they're in Icchantika. That's the men of incorrigible disbelief, so you can't really reason with them about anything. So anyway, that I'm going to give you the true definition of cult created by the creators of the false Jesus teaching, which is called Christianity, which I talked a little bit about the guy who you're going to want to read his books, which is Joseph Shelton Pierce, because he actually used to be a Christian, and he calls himself a recovering Christian. And he says the antithesis of Christ's teachings is Christianity, so it should be called, this is his, I'm not saying this, it should be called the Antichrist. Christianity is the Antichrist to him. And he says everything that the Bible teaches, which is the antithesis of what Jesus taught, is pretty much taken out of context of everything he taught. And most of it is the teaching of the apostles, which actually after he died, they put him up on a pedestal, which is the quickest way to kill any founder of any religion. That's how the Theravada school, otherwise known as Hinayana, killed Shakyamuni. They put him up on a pedestal and they started worshiping him, even though he said everyone was equal. And so did Jesus. So if you ever want to put someone on a pedestal, you're going to pretty much kill them, because you create separation between you and him, which you don't realize you're him and he's you. So anyone who practices the true teachings of Christ, they know they are Christ. They are Christ consciousness. They are God living. They are the living manifestation of God consciousness, which is just full consciousness, which is the same as Buddhahood. So all the founders of the schools of religion were pretty much teaching the same thing, but their followers totally distorted that. So the only one that didn't get fully distorted is the Mahayana Buddhism, because the Theravada tried to totally distort it and put them up on a pedestal, and the Mahayana broke away from that, the school of the elders, because they were just totally doing the same thing that they did with Christ in Rome. So Christ taught amora. You take amora, which is love, and you turn it backwards and it becomes Roma. And that's became the seat of the Antichrist, which is the Catholic Church, which is the antithesis of Christianity. And all the deviations of that going on and on and on were all the cults, whatever cult you want to call it. So the main definition of cult created by this Antichrist was any religion that was too small to be officially established by the government. So this is the definition of cult from at least the 300s in Rome and now around the world. Actually, no, it was about 200s or 100 or 200 supposedly after Jesus was put on a cross and died. But we'll go into that another day. He didn't really die. He got set down, got pulled down from the cross, and he was given in the caves that he was supposed to be buried in. He was given some the herbs that were waiting for him, because they put him on some sleeping herbs when he got on the cross. So he was the first one that seemed to be dead. So they said, he's already dead, let's take him down. And they finally agreed, okay, yeah, you can take him down, he's dead. And they knew he wasn't, because they gave him the herbs. And here I'm once again, as soon as I'm about to say something that the universe isn't ready for, that's when my throat starts clogging up. So let me take another drink. Okay, so the definition of a cult, according to the Roman government, before they officially established Christianity as the cult of the Romans, they were burning Christians, the true Christians, not the ones that they created after they created their Bible, but the ones that were really trying to practice the teachings of Jesus Christ, which was turn the other cheek. It wasn't an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. So the Christianity that they created and the history of the United States can be easily termed up in one definition. And this definition is genocide in the name of Jesus. So if you look at what the first conquistadors and all the people did in Latin America, they just exterminated the people in the name of Jesus to try to save them, in quotes, save them from living, so they can go to this false place called heaven, which actually Jesus taught was in your heart, and same thing Buddha taught. Okay, so why the SGI isn't a cult? This is the historical definition. The website that says it's what it was before is not at all what the definition of a cult is. So a cult is a religion that's too small to be officially recognized by the government. That's what the historical definition of a cult. So they called it the cult of Jesus, and then they called it the cult of Mary in other countries when it broke away, when the Roman Church was burning and killing and hanging and doing whatever they could to people that called themselves Christians, because they called it a cult. Until that cult started growing too big, so they figured, okay, what can we do? Well, we're going to have to hijack their teaching, which is what they did with MLK. All the people that say, I have a dream and all this stuff, and they changed it into, I have a drone. And they became drone murderers in the name of MLK. And all the people who took Gandhi's teaching and put him up on a pedestal and changed it into the antithesis of everything he taught are people that killed Gandhi and killed MLK. Okay, so they want to kill Daisaku Ikeda, and they've tried many times to kill him, but anyway, he's not yet willing to die. So you can only really die when you're willing to die. That you can try to kill someone as many times as you want, but unless they're willing to go, you're not going to kill them. If they're willing to claim, own, and acknowledge that they are the Buddhists from time without beginning, they're invincible, because as Daisaku Ikeda said, faith is to fear nothing. Okay, so why is the SGI not a cult then? Because in 192 countries, the SGI is now officially recognized by the governments in almost all the UN countries. 192. In the countries that is not yet recognized, only in those countries can it officially be called a cult, because a cult, by definition, is a group that's too small to be recognized yet by the government. That's what the historical definition of a cult, created by the creators of Christianity and the Bible. Okay, which is the antithesis of what everything Jesus taught. Now, there is many cults. One of them is these websites that are haters of SGI. Those are all cults, because they'll never get larger than 5,000, but they probably won't ever get larger than 100 people. And every one of those websites, they have this ticker mark in the beginning, which we got up to million, 5 billion, trillion. They try to get the tickers, and there's only like 25 of them. So they go every day and they write another message, and they write another message, and then they click another message and another message. Every time they click another part of the website, it creates a new ticker, and they subconsciously must think once they get to a certain billion number, this lightning strike is going to hit Daisaku Ikeda and he's going to blow up or something. But it doesn't work that way, because no matter how many clickers they have on this imaginary site, popular site, which only 25 people actually write on and actually read, unless it's the people that are defending themselves like me, which they delete every post that I make, which is a defense of the lies that they're telling about me. And then that's a few more clicks on their clicker. Anyway, so they'll never get to more than 5,000 people. If all the Icchantikas that left the ceremony in the air all get born at the same time, which is highly unlikely, then they'll all go to these fraught with lies websites, and they'll all be 5,000, and they probably will never be more than a cult, because a cult still at 5,000 probably won't be recognized by any government unless it's like the king of Brunei or something. Anyway, so that's the real definition of a cult and why the SGI can't be a cult. And I'm going to get into other definitions of why a cult is, and tell you more about Icchantika Tourette's, if you already haven't figured it out, by trying to have a dialogue with these people, because you can say anything is up and they'll say it's down, and you can say anything is blue and they'll say it's orange, and they'll pretty much take the opposite of whatever you say, and they'll say that's the reason why they don't believe what you're saying and you're in a cult. Okay, so anyway, don't even bother, because there's no logic to their reasoning. There's just it's a syndrome, which I will call Icchantika Tourette's. So talk to you in the next video. Peace out.